Scott, first of all, just wanted to check on team news first of all. Amdouni, how far away is he at the moment?
He's some time away. He's just coming back, from a more longer term injury. So crucial ligament. So he's going to be a little while away.
He has obviously had the op though. I take it that everything's.
He's had surgery. That. Yeah, he's probably around about a few months now from after surgery. So he's on that. He's moving in the right direction, but he'll be some time.
Jordan Bayer with his hamstring.
Same. Jordan had a little bit of a setback with his hamstring. So again, not too long, but again, at this moment, probably not in contention in the next foreseeable.
And Lyle obviously withdrew from the South African squad. How is he? Has he got a chance for the weekend?
Well, it's probably better news than we initially thought. It seems to be a dead leg. So he travels back. He travelled back this morning. He'll be in this afternoon. My conversations with Lyle and medical conversations, we're hoping that he'll be fine for the weekend. We'll have to just see when he comes in, and we'll have to manage that and see where we are tomorrow with him, really.
And Connor Roberts, is he ready yet?
Connor's had a little bit of a setback, so Connor will be he'll be a little bit more longer now. It's probably looking for a few months for Connor, which is not ideal, and it's a big setback for us. But hopefully he'll come out the other end of that.
I suppose for yourself, when we go through that, there's an element of frustration that you're without players of that quality, isn't there?
Of course, there always is, and this is part and parcel of professional sport, I suppose. We'll, the demands of what it is, the likelihood is our players are going to get injured, and unfortunate. And of course, there's a frustration there because you want, in an ideal world, you want everyone fit. That's not the reality. So hence why we got a squad and a competitive squad. So people fill in for them positions.
Before we look ahead to the game itself, Scott, I just wanted to ask you about Alan's comments since the purchase of Espanyol, because obviously it reflects on Burnley as well. And in it, he says, my ambition will outlast me. If anything happens here, I would love for this club, any club that I'm associated with, to win the Champions League. But it's an ambition. It may happen long after I'm dead, but we have to put plans in place and change the mentality for that to happen. We want winners. So in terms of your own role in laying the foundations to give Burnley the best possible chance in the future of being that kind of, or producing that kind of success, how do you see your role?
Well, I think firstly, them comments as someone who's obviously hugely ambitious, and I think there's a bit of context in there in terms of whether I'm long and dead. That may be the case. That ambition is clearly there, and I sense that ambition. That ambition for me is no different, and sometimes you're part of that journey and an early part of it, really. So they're the owner's ambitions, and when I sit down with him, I've probably got my own ambitions as well of this football club and in general, really. So my role is my role, and my role when I've come into this place early on in the process was to try and get out of the Championship, and that was the main aim. There's obviously a longer vision for everyone. We all have them, but initially it was to get out of the Championship. We've done that. Next part is the ambition for us is to stay in this division, really. The longer part of that is obviously down the road a little bit.
How do you assess then the opportunity you've given yourself to do that this season?
I think we give ourselves a brilliant opportunity in terms of the objective of trying to stay in this division. Yeah. I think it's been well documented, and we all know that. Even you guys sitting in this room, the first lot of fixtures have been tough fixtures for us when they were delivered. And you look at a team coming up into the Premier League, we've been faced with some huge challenges. Arguably the top 5 or 6 teams in this division, really. What gives me a massive encouragement is how competitive we've been in there. There's still a lot of learning, and we've fallen short a little bit. I don't think we've fallen short by wide margins in that sense, and I think we've been hugely competitive. We need to continue that. We need to keep learning. We need to keep growing. We'll be learning constantly. A team that we are this year, a new team, a young team, players that probably have not experienced a lot in this Premier League, and we need to get there as quick as we can. But like I said, I've been really encouraged.
To put it into context as well, a win moves you to within a point of Leeds, who are up in 15th at the moment.
Yeah, and I think that's it really. Look, I focus, and my main focus, and as always, just in general life, is I focus on the here and now. And I don't worry about what's down the road or the what ifs. If you lose this amount of games, what's going to happen? And the fine margins that certainly at this point in the season are exactly that. A team, you get a result, fundamentally you fall back on what you need to be to get a result, what sort of habits and what sort of commitment you need to get a result, and that will be the main driver, really.
Thanks, Scott.
Cheers.
Scott, with Leeds being another promoted team, why do you think the promoted teams are doing better or perceived to be doing better in this campaign so far? Has there been a sort of learning process after 2 seasons of the promoted teams getting relegated?
Maybe there's an element of an understanding of seeing what's happened previous and knowing what was probably needed. I would say it's still very early on in the season as well. So yeah, I couldn't really put my finger on that. There's a lot of variables what could suggest why some teams have done well or why they've been hugely competitive, really. So partly could be, like you said, that people have seen or you have an understanding of where Premier League's evolving and where you need to be very good or what you need to be good at for a team that's just coming up into this division, really.
How do you assess the evolution of your team, given the signings that you made in the summer and how they've progressed so far in this Premier League season?
Yeah, I see it, like I said, I see us in a very good place, and evolution is exactly the word, because it's a new team that have been put together, which happens when you come up from the Championship. You look at other teams that come up, there is a lot of changes in a new squad, and you need to develop that. We're no different from where we were last year in that as well. My learning from last year is that took time, and that took a lot of work, and that took a lot of commitment from the players and that engagement of us. So yeah, I'm pleased with where we are. Like I say, there's still loads we need to improve on, and there's loads of things we can get better at. At the same time, there's loads of things we're doing really, really well.
What's the main thing you think you need to improve on?
I think it's a combination of a lot of things. And that'll always be the case. There's a combination of a lot of things at this present moment in time that, as a coach, you wanna try and tackle every sort of aspect of your team or how you can improve it. The facts are you can't physically do that, and it probably dilutes a message. So that is a stepping stone, and there's certain areas that we do need to certainly improve on. And I think I mentioned that after Aston Villa, and certainly looking back in the first group of games we've had, we've probably just lacked at certain moments a concentration and a focus in certain moments, what's just let ourselves down. And maybe there's a focus there we need to highlight.
How do you get more goals out of this group? I guess you are looking for more goals. You need them to stay up.
Yeah.
How do you get that from your group?
Well, that question was there last year. In the first 10 games of the Championship season, people were asking the same questions, and how do you get more goals? And like always, you then start conceding a lot. How do you stop conceding? That's just a process. It's just, you understand where you need to be. And like I said, I think we've been a real threat. I think we have been a real threat in our way, what we needed to be, game dynamics, what we've been faced up against, how we can do that. It's fair to say against Aston Villa, that was probably less the case. I understand in the world we live in, and certainly the world I live in, and us as players, as you have one game where you may not be that threat, or that stat comes out that you've only had 3 shots, that gets magnified. But previous to that, for the team we've been in a competition and the level of opponent we've been playing against, we've been every bit of that, really.
What do you think of Leeds? They seem to use Dominic Calvert-Lewin as a real focal point, and he's really growing into that team. Is there a difference between the way they're playing this season than last, do you think?
I think firstly a very good team. We experienced that last year. A top team. I've got a lot of quality, a good intensity about their game, with a brilliant manager who's been in there some time now, and you can see that. There's definite little changes to them, and the Calvert-Lewin you mentioned is more of a focal point for them. But I think, look, for the majority of it, the team we're going to face and the team that Leeds are, we're going to see similarities of what we faced last year.
And I'm guessing, Scott, you don't need to remind your players of how strong they have been at home under your guidance.
Yeah, no, as always, we've been strong at home last year. We've been strong at home this year, hugely competitive. We need to continue that. Our home form this year will be vital for us in terms of being successful. So again, we're looking forward in front of our home fans to put in a performance and hopefully get the 3 points. Cheers, mate.
Just one from me, Scott. How important is the game, given that most people would expect Leeds and Burnley to be in and around each other come the end of the season?
Important game, for sure. It's an important game. I don't really focus on... Every game's important, and it's a bit cliche. I get it, and maybe a bit fluffy, but the facts are that Leeds, Sunderland was an important game, 2 games into the start of the season. It was a massive game for us. Liverpool at home was a massive game. So we're that early on in the season. Our focus last year and our mantra last year was each game as it comes. You get drowned by the journey or the fixtures coming up, you lose a little bit of sight. Certainly a psychological element as well can have an effect. So we'll go into this game fully committed. Whether it was Leeds, whoever it was in this division, it's going to be a tough game ahead of us, and we need to bring the best version of ourselves as always.